All right, guys, it has finally happened. I mean, this is a beta channel, right? Well, mainly focused on betas and aquascaping, but it was bound to happen anyway. I'm so excited to bring this video to you guys, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you love betas and or aquascaping, think about liking, sharing, and subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Really helps me out. Anyway, let's get into the video. So as you could tell from the title of the video, I decided to try my hand at breeding betas. Now, I've already started this. It's been a couple weeks already, so I will catch you up on what I've done so far, and then we'll continue from there.
So the first thing I did was choose a very strong, healthy male, which of course I already had one, which would be Aries. The beta I put into the Java Fern aquarium that I did a little while ago in the 5.5 gallon cube. And then after that, after I had him and he was in really good condition, I went looking for a beautiful female. I managed to find Hayes, which was a half moon placotte, and she was actually all ready to breed when I got her. I still waited a little bit, but she was pretty much ready. Her ovipositor was sticking out, so that was really, really cool. And they were really ready to go. I made sure that they were in great condition, really good health, fed them really well. And then a couple weeks before I took these pictures, I put them into a couple containers right next to each other that was very, very close. That way they could see each other and kind of get used to each other. I also fed them high protein foods. All right, so we started with our tub of water, which only has a couple inches of water in it. This is just a plastic tub that you can get just about anywhere. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a Indian almond leaf on top. What that will do is just kind of acts as an antifungal, antibacterial type of thing for the fish. It'll also add a little bit of tannins to the water. So that'll just kind of help just in case the male attacks the female. It's just really just to keep her safe. I'm going to split it into two and then kind of move it in there, get it wet a little bit, kind of speed up that process if I can. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a tiny little piece of bubble wrap. I cut it down a little bit and all we're going to do is just kind of lay it on top, right? So the male, what he's going to do is he's going to see that and he's going to be like, ooh, I need to build a bubble nest. So once he also sees the female, that's what this is for. So this is a plastic bottle that I cut the top and the bottom off. Tried to get it as straight as possible, but that's kind of hard. So it's not perfect, obviously. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in there and then put the female inside of this. So the male can still see her and she can still see him, but they can't attack each other. And then what he'll do is he'll build the bubble nest underneath the bubble wrap. Hopefully, he might also do it underneath one of these. Who knows? And once he's done that and he's ready to go, I will pull this out and release the female into the rest of the tank, and then they can have a chance to breed. All right, I just fed the male just a little bit ago, so he should be ready now. Let's get him into this. Now, this is dechlorinated. I did double check that, and it's all ready to go for him. It's also at room temperature because I do heat the room, and so he'll be good. All right, and there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to give him probably about an hour or so just to get himself accustomed to the tank and ready to go. What I'm going to do actually is I will put a rock on probably one of these just to get it to sink a little bit, just so the female has some cover just in case she needs it later. But we'll give him an hour and we'll come back to it. All right, guys. So he has had a little over an hour and like 20 or so to kind of move around, kind of get his whereabouts in and kind of mark his territory, whatever. So we're just going to move on to the next step. So we're going to add the little plastic container. We'll just go straight in. And then we will just put the female in there. There we go. Oh, you can already see, he sees her. He's circling around. He's flaring a little bit, showing off. So he knows she's another beta. And yeah, he's pretty excited there. So we'll give him about a day or so to,
get the bubble nest ready, and then we'll release her. All right, guys. So the bubble nest is done. Now it's obviously not the best bubble nest I've ever seen. Still a decent size, but what I'm gonna do is go ahead and release the female, and then we'll see what happens.
Now, the male ended up chasing the female around, and she ended up taking refuge underneath one of the Indian almond leaves. So I just quickly put her back into the little clear plastic tube. And then the next day, after he had actually rebuilt a new bubble nest underneath the other Indian almond leaf, the one that was floating, I released them again. Their behavior immediately changed, and they actually went straight under the bubble nest. An hour later, which is when this was filmed, they were actually starting to wrap. Now, the whole process was actually really cool to witness, just kind of watching them do their thing. It was honestly just, I was really honored to be able to see it at least once. Obviously, hopefully, I want to do more of this in the future, but this was really cool to watch for the first time and just super cool to experience. So hopefully I got the best video I could. I didn't want to get too close and scare them and potentially cause stuff that, to come to a screeching halt, basically. So I just kind of watched from afar, and I actually learned a couple things. So halfway through, and hopefully I can line the clips up right with this, but halfway through, I noticed the female was actually going down towards the eggs. And at first, it looked like she was eating them. So I was like, crud. So my first time didn't work out. I was like, okay, no harm, no foul. But later, I come to find out after a little bit of research, glad I left them alone, is that actually the female as well as the male will go down and actually collect the eggs and put it up into the bubble nest. So I saw her do this numerous times while he continued to build the bubble nest up. And so it was just really cool to learn a couple different things that I didn't think were actually possible, and also just to witness this in general.
Now, a couple days after they were finished spawning, I actually was looking at the nest and didn't see any movement. I think it was exactly 2 to 3 days after they were done spawning. I looked at the nest, but I couldn't see anything. It looked like the eggs hadn't hatched. I even caught the male, though I didn't get video of it. I caught the male actually with his mouth full of eggs, and when he saw me, he kind of spat them out everywhere. So I was like, okay, so he's just, taking care of them or whatever. Well, he actually wasn't. I don't know what he was doing exactly, but a couple days later, I bumped the leaf or whatever, and I was like, okay, I should just get the mail out of here. And when I bumped the leaf, out came basically hundreds of, maybe not hundreds, but probably a good 25 to 30 babies. And yeah, so I was like, oh crap. I'm like, got, so I hard boiled an egg right then and there and then began feeding them. I fed them at least twice a day with the egg yolk, milky egg yolk water, whatever, and for twice a day for a little while, for like close to a week or so. And then I began feeding some baby brine shrimp. Now, when I removed the female, she is a whole heck of a lot skinnier, so that tells me that a lot of eggs were dumped out of her. So she's in great condition. Once they were done, the male just kind of left her alone, kicked her out of the nest, obviously, but just left her alone. So she's in really good shape. She is now out of the tank in a separate solitary confinement tank for a little bit, just to make sure she's all good, and then I'll throw her into an aquarium. So yeah, she's doing great. He seems to be doing really good, so we'll see. And yeah, I cannot explain though, the absolute excitement of watching them get to spawning. Like, it was such a cool process to actually witness. I've seen it on YouTube a bunch of times, and then some other videos when researching, but it was so cool to actually watch it in my own home, on my kitchen table, not kitchen table, but dining room table, whatever. But it was so cool to watch them do it, uh, I walked up and I was very, very careful not to disturb them because you don't want to distract them during the whole process. And when I bent down and finally saw them at an angle, I was like, oh my gosh, they're actually doing it. This is so cool. And so I was able to snag my camera and get some video filming. And oh my word, coolest process ever. I was so glad to witness it. And I'm so excited for the future of these baby betas and going forward, just getting to watch them grow up. And yeah, it's so exciting, and I'm so glad to be a part of that.